Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the UCL review where we put Europe's premier competition underneath the microscope. Joining me is our lead scientist, Zach Jalab.
I'll take that. I got an A in biology, B in the other two.
Don't need a magnifying glass to see you, do we?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all, especially not in this shirt.
It was a massive result for Leipzig last night, wasn't it? That's how we're segueing into the games, yes.
It was.
Leipzig versus Spurs.
It was indeed. Spurs' faint hopes of qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Champions League were extinguished last night, losing 3-0 to Leipzig at the Red Bull Arena. Spurs did open brightly though, pressing with enthusiasm, but Julian Nagelsmann's men wrestled control from the visitors after just 10 minutes, with captain Sabitzer opening the scoring, and he had a fantastic game. 10 minutes later, he'd have his brace, meeting a pinpoint Angelino cross at the near post. The 25-year-old Austrian now has 6 goal involvements in 7 UCL starts from the centre of midfield for the East German outfit, equaling Timo Werner's haul of 4 strikes in the process. What a campaign he's having.
Do you think that Hugo Lloris, though, should be doing better for both goals? Definitely the first, second.
Proper chocolate wrists.
Probably, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't know what muscle technique he has to do, but do it, Lloris. Truth be told, though, as we said, Hugo Lloris should have done better for both goals, although there wasn't much he could do for Emil Forsberg's strike in the 87th minute. The Swedes' 5th goal involvement in as many starts. Leipzig were so dominant they even remained largely unaffected by Nordi Mukiele's forced substitution. He'd won 5 headers in just 56 minutes, with the 22-year-old fullback swallowing his tongue after being temporarily knocked out by the ball. Hopefully he is okay.
Yikes.
This positional and physical dominance is maybe best reflected in the tackle numbers. Despite possession being relatively equal, Leipzig completed 32 tackles to Tottenham's 9.
Like ants.
Wow.
Everywhere.
Spurs were also dispossessed 19 times, only enforcing the same fate on Leipzig just 5 times. Quick note, a dispossession is when you lose the ball without trying to take on an attacking player. These numbers reflected that one team were much more structured and coherent out of possession than the other, and unsurprisingly, Jose was keen to highlight Leipzig's strength in depth versus Spurs' lack of options.
In Leipzig's bench, in my team, they would all play. Forsberg would play, Poulsen would play, all of them, they would play in this moment in my team because we don't have. So that is a big problem.
So do you guys agree with Jose, and who would you have started in that Spurs first XI from Leipzig's bench? Let us know in the comments. I totally forgot they bought Dani Olmo. He was on the bench. Haidara came on. Who else was there? Like you said, Forsberg came on and scored, so maybe he has a little bit of a point. And the only players that look like they could really compete with a team of that level, of Leipzig's level, in the Spurs ranks were Gio Lo Celso and Lucas Moura perhaps on the night, who completed an impressive 12 dribbles between them, setting up half the team's chances as well. In comparison, RB created far more chances, didn't they? Taking 13 shots to Spurs' 6, with 5 players creating goal-scoring opportunities to Spurs' 3. And Timo Werner was the outstanding player in this regard. He's the outstanding player for the most of the time, isn't he? Laying on a match-high 3 key passes while taking 5 shots, 3 of them inside the box. Those total figures are about on par with his 5 shots per 90 in this season's competition. And only 3 players who have posted 450 minutes plus in the UCL have generated more. Can you name them? I'll give you the first one. It's Harry Kane. Let us know in the comments below. At the other end of the pitch, Deo Upamecano demonstrated why he'll be highly sought after this summer, putting a commanding performance to say the least. 7 tackles and interceptions, 5 clearances, 3 dribbles, 1 aerial duel and 1 shot.
He was very good.
They'd also been extremely grateful for the efforts, the defensive efforts in particular, of Konrad Laimer in front of him. He completed 8 tackles from CDM, covering the far more adventurous Sabitzer with aplomb. I think Sabitzer only put in 1 tackle, but got 2
Scored
goals.
2 goals.
Yeah, they were just awesome. And like you've highlighted, were just far superior in every department. I'm not sure if Jose had the same players, that they'd be playing in the same way and he'd be getting as much out of them. I'm not going to smash into Jose. A lot of people questioning whether he still has the ability to manage at the top level, because his recent record in the knockout stages isn't entirely favourable. What do you think? Do you think we'll see a Jose Mourinho side in the quarters, the semis? ever again, Zach. Get your
God.
crystal ball out.
I mean, depends how long he lasts at Spurs. If he's moaning at the players constantly, I don't know whether he'll be there much longer, till the end of the season at least. I do agree, Spurs were unfortunate with their injuries. However, I don't think Mourinho's tactics of just being like, we've got no players, what are we going to do? Smart.
Hold on, so you mean that knocking it back to Eric Dyer and Eric Dyer playing it long to Lucas
surprisingly
Moura was never going to work on the night.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, from a purist point of view, you want to see. I think there's enough in that Spurs squad to play a slightly more coherent brand of football.
Especially when he's criticising Ndombele, who is a really good player.
Yeah. I mean, his performance against Burnley was disgraceful, but let's not go there. Guys, what do you think? Will we see Jose Mourinho manage at that stage of the competition again? Let us know in the comments below. Before we move on to our final match, if you're not subscribed to EFD, smash that red button right now. Turn notifications on to never miss an episode of UCL Review. And of course, the boys are back with tomorrow's game, so stay tuned for that. But we're rounding off the show, Zach, with Valencia versus Atalanta. And I want to talk about Josip Ilicic, a.k.a. the cheese string, a.k.a. the pepperami. The longest man in football is back at it. 4 goals he scored last night as Atalanta beat Valencia 4-3 away from home to ease into the quarterfinals. 8-4 on aggregate. They have been ridiculous of late, haven't they? In the process, he achieved numerous records, did Ilicic, the first player to score 4 goals in a UCL knockout game away from home. The first player, obviously the competition rebranded in 1992, but still the first player. What a gong that is. The 4th different player in UCL history to score 4 goals in a knockout match, full stop, after Lionel Messi, Robert Lewandowski, and which other player for a Brucey bonus? Let us know in the comments below. He does become the oldest player as well to score an away Champions League hat-trick at 32 years and 41 days, overtaking Zlatan's trio versus Anderlecht for PSG way back when. Atalanta are now the first debutants to reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League since Leicester City in 16-17, and the first Italian side to do so since Lazio in 1999-2000. Gasparini's men have just been absolutely mesmerising of late, haven't they? They've scored 28 goals in their last 7 games. Jesus. Absolutely frightening, with 70 in 25 in the league so far. That's 2.8 a game. I mean, Bergamo need cheering up right now, don't they? And the men on the pitch are duly delivering. Figure only topped by PSG, who've scored 75, and Bayern on 73 in Europe's top 5 leagues. They were super clinical on the night. It's not like they created an inordinate amount of chances. So I think they had 11 shots, 5 on target, versus 16 and 7 in the same metrics for Valencia. It does help when Ilicic is in that sort of mood, scoring 4 from 6 shots on target. And they actually only had 41% possession, played approached the game a little bit differently. In Serie A, they normally dominate games. They're constantly bombarding the opposition's goal. In this, it was just a case of being a little bit more decisive. Celedes's men, I think a little bit unfortunate, but you're going to talk about them in a minute, aren't you? This continues their remarkable recovery in this competition. They lost their opening 3 games, lest we forget, conceding 11 goals in the process. This iPad is on tour. Since that, they've gone unbeaten, winning 4 and drawing 1. Jesus. And they are, along with RB Leipzig, firmly the dark horses of this competition. And no one will want to draw them because it's almost a free pass for them now. They've exceeded expectations. They're rolling people over and they're just having so much fun doing it. Zach, like I said, reasonable performance from Valencia.
Yeah, they're actually not too bad. Goals from Gamera, who got 2, and a delightful Torres chip drew it back to 6-4 on aggregate after 67 minutes. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. They are now winless in 10 Champions League knockout ties since beating Inter in the quarter-final second leg back in 2003. That's the longest such run in the competition's history. And they have now been eliminated in each of their last 3 occasions they have reached the last 16. Also against Schalke back in 2011 and PSG back in 2013. But you make it very hard for yourself when you give away 2 penalties. Diakabi bringing down his man in just the 3rd minute of the game and handballing the ball after 43 minutes. They have now given away 6 Champions League penalties since the start of last season, more than any other side.
It's worth noting that Ilicic won both those penalties as well.
Indeed, he did indeed. One positive though, Gamero grabbing 2 goals. He became the first player to score for 3 different Spanish teams in the Champions League, also doing it for Sevilla and Atleti. They also weren't helped by a particularly ineffective performance from left midfielder Carlos Soler. 0 tackles and interceptions, 0 dribbles, 1 key pass, 1 shot. Valencia, though, were kept at bay by Palomino, who completed 7 tackles and interceptions, although he did have a few hairy moments. And Pasalic was very good once again. 2 interceptions, 3 aerial duels, 1 dribble, 1 key pass, and 1 shot. Man of the match, though, obviously has to go to Illich. 4 tackles and interceptions, 2 dribbles, 1 key pass, 6 shots, 4 goals. He now has 20 goals, 5 assists in just 28 League and Champions League game season. Okay.
Better than Ronaldo. Better than Immobile.
Wow.
We used to call him Grandma. Now they call him the Grandmaster, mate.
That's quite nice. That's quite
Tweeted
nice.
that yesterday,
That's
so
really
I'm recycling my own material.
Unfortunately, though, for Atalanta, with football in Italy suspended until the 3rd of April, they will have just 1 game, Cagliari, before their first leg of the quarterfinals on the 7th/8th of April. Do you think every other team should be frightened of pulling them?
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a free pass for them from here on in. They will have the ambition to go as far as possible, and they have the talent, don't they? There's certain players who will probably not see the stage of the competition again, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like Papu Gomez. I mean, Ilicic is nearly 33 now. So while they're in their pomp, they'll want to get the results, won't they? They've been the story of the season, arguably. And long may it continue. And if any Serie A fans who are currently under quarantine, are a little bit bored, slip into our DMs. We're going to get back to all of you because we love the FD Massive over in Italy.
Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, times are a little rough over there right now, but we'll power through. We've powered through the show as well. That is the end of it. Zach, what else can the lovely people at home watch right now?
Well, they can go check out all the Stat Wars the League, Stat Wars the Champions that is out. My Fixture versus I'm Alex is out there in the YouTube universe. And head over to Football Daily, where you can watch the latest XI, Refugee to Superstars. It features Alphonso Davies and another 10 players.
That is how 11s work. Bye.